All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to Daily Update on my 1000 Days Challenge. So right now, actually, I'm currently having a public holiday over here in Singapore. But do bear in mind that I'm doing the daily market structure update, so a little bit earlier, but nothing has changed in that perspective. So, all right, beginning in terms of S&P 500, what you do see in terms of daily chart is we actually make a new slightly higher high and also higher high than over here. So over here, this still tentatively in terms of Elliott wave theory wise, it could in fact be a ABC kind of a corrective wave and we could still continue towards the downside of things. And overall, we could be consolidating over here, so nothing to be too much of a major of concern in my opinion. And we do retrace over here, in fact, it will actually be a much greater opportunity to buy just as well. But let's see how price goes. Overall, we do see decreasing selling off pressure, which could in fact continue towards the upside of things just as well. So when it comes to investing, right, I would say if we haven't entered position right now, here is still position to get as it's still slightly below the all-time high, but definitely not by all in itself, but maybe just an integrity of your position or percentage of your intended position in that perspective. All right, and moving on in terms of Nasdaq itself. So similarly, we see a similar trend in terms for the US market, both of which are making slightly higher high than the past few weeks, past week itself. So things looks to be a little bit better after this sell-off that we have in, I think, the end of April to the middle of May itself. And as for ASHR, the gap, what I mentioned yesterday was a very nice gap up, and it can also be reflected in terms of the volume wise. So potentially there could be some sort of retracement or pullback or even consolidation over here, especially if you look in terms of daily chart wise, we do see potential resistance over here. As you can see for ASHR itself, you can see it tentatively has a tendency to get up or down very frequently. So generally, I do not trade these kind of stocks because you have a very high slippage in that perspective, even if you do day trading itself. I mean, even if you do swing trading itself. Sorry. All right, and moving on for KWEB itself, you can see that we are still hovering below the 20 exponential moving average, which even though looks to be bearish, but to me is actually relatively a little bit bullish, simply because this 20 exponential moving average is getting closer and closer, and we do break above it, it goes to show that buyers are more willing to buy, even though price is below the 20 days moving average or 20 days average prices itself. All right, and finally for Bitcoin itself. So Bitcoin itself on the daily chart, we tentatively close with some sort of indecision candlestick yesterday. And we do see a decrease in momentum of selling off pressure, which is a good thing. And volume is actually tapering downwards, which is similarly a good thing as well, because potentially we could be consolidating over here between this region, I would say, a tighter region of consolidation between 34.5K region to even below this 200 simple moving average, which is hovering at around 40K, 40.6K itself. So if we do hover around here, tentatively, you get a very nice break upwards, but tentatively, we do face resistance at near this 40K region near the 20 exponential moving average, or I would say nearly 45K to 44K region will be a key resistance to be looked into. And previously, you can also see this was the key resistance itself. So this is something to bear in mind. And then thereafter, we also have this resistance at 49K region for actually break up to potentially making near the decent bottom high near the 60K mark, or potentially even higher itself. So there's something to bear in mind. Okay, so apologies for the video interruption itself. So anyway, in terms of the momentum itself, I still lean towards that. If you're coming in the sense of an investment kind of a situation itself, then yes, I'll still say this is a buy zone in terms of Bitcoin and crypto in general. But if you're looking in terms of a trading perspective, then tentatively, I still lean towards some signs of bearish momentum, even though, sorry. This is for gold itself. So even though we still look a little bit bearish in terms of the daily chart and the 4-hour chart, simply because we are still below the 200 simple moving average, but very good sign is that previously we were strongly selling off over here, over these 20 exponential moving average, and we were all below it until here we actually break above it. And then now you can see that we consolidate with a tight consolidation itself. We actually broke above it and potentially finding support. So if we do find support over here, potentially we could break upwards upside, which is why I say this is a potential price action trading itself. And in fact, you could actually also tighten it in terms of stop loss itself. So you will have a much better risk to reward setup in that perspective. I'll still stack it 1:1.5 because he's still a key resistance to be met. All right, so with that said, the reason why I still personally will not enter these trades is very simple. I'm a trend follower kind of a trading strategy guy. So this is still tentatively considered counter trend trading in terms of the 4-hour and daily time frame itself. So for me, I will not be entering this trade, but potentially this could be a definitely profitable trade itself. But if you look in terms of grand scheme of things, then you have to be consistent in your trade itself in order to be profitable. So that's it. I've come to the end of today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop by your comments below. Otherwise, see you. Bye-bye.